Hi, everybody. I finally figured out how to make this work. I have a brand new app that I'm using to try to do live streams across several of our platforms. And it was just giving me this blue screen of death, and I had no idea what I was doing wrong. Figured it out. Thanks. So welcome to Tuesday night. Nicole would be with us. However, Facebook has banned her for the next 24 hours. So I'm filling in, and just as an aside, I'll be starting my morning coffee revolutions on my 56th birthday, which is Thursday. So we'll begin to see those again. And what else is happening? From the videos, the last few videos that you've seen us do, or that you've seen Nicole do, you'll have seen that she's been doing an awful lot of work around I'm just trying to get everything going here. She's been doing an awful lot of work around a lot of the different information that we've sort of been layering out to lawyers and other people probably since the beginning of all of this COVID. We've found so much stuff that we've been sending to people. So thanks. And no, I wasn't being messed with the powers that be. It was my own learning curve with this new software. So thanks. And one thing that I notice I'm not able to do from this new software is do the closed captioning at the bottom. So we'll see if I can figure that out, if there is a way. If not, then we may be looking at some other different options. Because I know closed captioning to have the language available in French and English is important. So anyway, back to our topic for tonight. So Nicole's been banned for 24 hours. She'll be back tomorrow. And I'm just as livid as she is, actually. Probably, maybe in many ways, just a bit, I approach things a bit differently, but I'm just as mad and almost ready to just say, screw this and let's have at it. Because we're getting to a point in all of this where it's reached almost I don't even know how to put it. It's almost like a level of cognitive dissonance that is unheard of. We've never seen this before, where so many people are just, they're waking up, but they're not waking up fast enough, and there's just so much happening. And when I say waking up, I don't mean being part of the woke, politically correct crowd. I mean that they're waking up to really what's going on around them, that how the government is using a lot of things against them. Like for example, just what's been in the news this week. The government stonewalled that for a few years. It would have happened years ago had the government not been trying to keep it under wraps. And yet at the same time, the government is supposedly doing what's best for our health. Really? You believe that? You really, really believe that? Like, really? I just don't get it. The logic in me and the part that looks at everything from a linear, rational a point of view goes, well, wait a second, something really stinks here, because the government has never been interested in our health before, ever, unless it was to make money off of us. And guess what? Bing, 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 they're making money off of us. So as far as all of this other stuff that's going on, none of it's been approved. It's all in test phase, people. It's all, you're the little mice. We're all the mice. If you choose, you're the mouse. And something else is there's a control group that has to happen. So who's the control group? Well, the control group are the people that aren't getting it. There needs to be a control group. So that's what this is about. So anyway, I'm flustered today. I've had some other stuff happening, and I didn't realize that Nicole had a 24-hour ban, and then I tried to go on earlier. Anyway, so she's talked about how the government cannot derogate from our international rights. We have been, if you go and look at the UN, and I know the UN is the swear word these days, however, some of the work that the UN did is good, and it all comes around to international individual rights. And at that level, our own government cannot derogate from what they've agreed to at the level of the UN, which is international level. They cannot derogate from that to us without advising the UN that they're going to do it. And they certainly can't do it under emergency measures for going on a year and a half. That's That's crazy. So one of the things that I'm going to be following up on is there were some law cases, some court cases that happened in other countries, and they were supposed to, I think it was Denmark, I think. Anyway, I could be wrong. Anyway, this country, or it could be Belgium. Anyway, they made a, they won the court cases, of course, being appealed, but the government had until a certain date to put emergency orders into legislation, or they needed to be dropped completely. And the government themselves was working on having all of that done by June 1st. So that's today. So it'll be interesting. I'm going to follow up on that to see if there, some stuff happened there. And then again, oh, Denmark, thank you. And then again, I'm going to be starting my coffee revolutions again on Thursday on my 56th birthday. Might as well start my birthday off with a bang, and we'll be more consistent with them. They'll be a lot shorter. This is going to be a really short video today as well. So just to get ready, we're rolling stuff out. You're going to be seeing more stuff on our websites around calls to action and things that you can do. We're actually going to be doing lives appealing to how to protest and rally in unique ways that think outside the box, because we're not about who to vote for. We're not about, you know, putting someone else in who's just going to do the exact same thing. We're about bringing fundamental change for us, for our collective civil and political rights. This is something that as Canadians, we're not used to talking about. In fact, we've been told for almost, well, I know my whole life and for pretty much ever since 1864, we've been told the collective rights are evil because then the majority will mob the minority. Well, right now, what do we have? And there is no way to be able to have a voice in any of it. None, without collective rights. And they keep us very, very siloed into each little cubbyhole or each little box. And they keep doing it. They keep dividing us. And it's wrong. And we should, at this point, we should be kind of cluing in a bit more to what's been going on. So anyway, that's what's coming up. Just giving you a little bit of a head start on that. Again, we do like a lot of discussion on our videos because it helps us to understand where people are at and where we're hitting and missing the mark. However, we are becoming ruthless with deleting comments that have to do with certain actions that are illegal and that will not bring us any resolution. So we just are deleting them because they don't and also fake news. We are deleting those comments and any remarks of those inside our videos. First of all, we don't want to be banned completely off of our platforms, and we need our platforms. We need our platforms to get our word out. We're on Telegram. We are on Instagram. We don't have a very active Instagram channel, by the way, because we're so busy with other things, but we are on Instagram. We were on Twitter. I don't know if we are anymore. Twitter's kind of a lost sort of, I don't know. It's hard. And then did I say Telegram? Telegram, Instagram, Facebook, and then we have our website. And our website is going to start becoming our hub. We have a forum section on our website. If for those that are old enough to know what a forum is, it's like a Facebook page where you go to and you can place your comment and then have discussion underneath it. And that's what that's about. And you're free to join the page. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. You're free to join the actual page, to join the free part of the forum. If you become a member of CPU, you have access to additional forum discussions that are for CPU members only. And why do we say CPU members? Well, the Canadian People's Union is a nonprofit, a registered nonprofit organization. It's not a labor union, folks. Don't get your buns tied in a knot. It's not a labor union. I personally don't believe in those either. It is a union. It's about uniting for our collective rights. And interestingly enough, only unions can do that. Uniting people for their collective rights. So that's what we're doing. And we're not doing it for ourselves. And the people that are organizing all of this are not going to be the leaders of. They're just organizing it. So it's going to be, everything's going to come down to the community level, to your constituent level, to your riding level. And then from there, we're going to form groups that can get the word out, work inside your hub, work inside your network at your local level. Entice people to become independent, run as independents. That's the key to all of this, is to having a 338 independents being elected across Canada, because independents work for the riding. They don't work for a political party. Independents work for their constituents. They have one person to answer to, or one group of people to answer to, and that's the constituent base that they were elected within. They don't answer to a political party. They answer to their constituents. They cut out the middleman. And that way you can be a lot more informed. You can have a lot more debate. You can have a lot more interaction. It's just a lot better. It does mean a lot more work. That's why political parties have always been there, is because none of us have really wanted to do the work. But we're going to have to step up if we want to save this for our children, our grandchildren, our future generations. We have to step up and do the work. We have to become the adults of our country. And, you know, for years we were told that our the citizens are at the teen level where they can't do a whole bunch of stuff, you know, that we're not grown up enough. We don't recognize enough, all of that stuff. And I think that's wrong at this point, and that there's enough of us that are able to actually do something. Thanks, Tamara. Yeah, Belgium. Yeah, that's that court case where they won, and it's already in appeals court, or it might have already gone through appeals court, and the government was supposed to put into legislation. They had to legislate the emergency orders or drop them completely. And that was for PCR test masks, all of it. So it'll be interesting to see how that rolled out. One thing that's really, really good is people are really, really good at the start of the story and getting that first information out, but following through to make sure that everything else is reported often falls by the wayside. So, yeah. Yeah, exactly, Craig. That's exactly right. Once you're running as an independent, you are free to do exactly what you want to do for your constituents and as your constituents wish. And and when I talk about as your constituents wish, it is up to them to weigh the pros and the cons. We can't bully them. We can't strong arm them. We need to make sure that we approach things as a holistic, and making sure that we're caring for our communities and everybody inside our communities. This is what we've been told we could never do. We never had it. We've been told for generations, this is generational. We've been told that we personally don't have enough compassion for our fellow citizens to help them out, to make sure they're safe, to make sure that their needs are met, and to make sure that we are not stomping on their rights. That's what we've been told. And the government, sorry, I need a haircut. And the government actually fosters this activity as much as they can. Look at what they're doing now. It's exactly why they're doing it. It's exactly why they're keeping, creating such a divide in all of us, in families. And to that I cry, shame on you. And they'll pay for it. We're going to make them pay for it. How do we do that? We stand up united. And how do you do that? You go to the powershift.ca right there, powershift.ca. You go there, the very top of the main page, in 3 boxes. They're either, depending on what device you're on, they'll be across the screen, or they will be up and down on your other devices. If they're narrower, they'll be up and down, but they'll be the first 3 boxes that you see on your screen. And they are a call to action to sign your convention of consent. That convention of consent is unifying all of us together. That's you saying you want your collective civil and political rights together. And we want to be collectively, all of us, all of Canada, all citizens, all Indigenous people together want to be the head of state. We are the head of state. We are the people that are supposed to be the head of state. Not the prime minister, not the executive council, not the privy council. The privy council is supposed to work for us. Privy council is supposed to work for the Queen, the head of state, us. We are supposed to, the people, when Canada in 1983, when Canada finally became an independent nation, and we're not completely independent yet either, that's a whole other story. But when we technically became an independent nation, completely in 83, we should have been named the head of state. The people should have been named the head of state, the people of Canada. And instead they kept the Queen there. And why did they do that? Because it's the Queen of Canada. And who's the Queen of Canada? The Prime Minister, the Executive Council. And who works for them then? Privy Council, Governor General, senators, all of that works for the head of state. And we're just consulted, and we're only consulted in a very limited capacity, because they don't want our voices. They don't want us lambasting them. And that's wrong. We vote them in. If we don't vote, there's no, it becomes really what it truly is, and that is a dictatorship. And that's truly what we vote in every 4 years, under the system as it is now. Our system needs to evolve. It needs to evolve to the 21st century. It needs to evolve to the way we are today, period. And all we can do to do that is start unifying, start doing actions, start these call to actions that we do are not just petitions. In fact, they're not petitions at all. They are going to be used, they can be used legally to demonstrate that we have 51% of the people, or we have a certain percentage of the people, that a certain percentage of the people have joined together, united. That's what's so important about them. And that's why they're not just a petition. That's why we're not using something like Change.org or one of the other places, because this is not a petition. Your information remains 100% private, 100%. None of us know who signed unless you choose to say you've signed. No one's information is given to the government. No one's information is handed in on a petition sheet. It's all 100% private. We keep it that way. We're adamant about that. And that's exactly right. And yes, Connie, right now, in 2015, they brought in legislation for what happens when the current Queen of England dies. And again, it's just going to be replaced but it's just a figurehead. It doesn't really mean anything, because they do not have executive power inside our constitutional monarchy. It's the Parliament itself, our own Parliament, the Prime Minister and the Executive Council. And the other thing too that is kind of key, once we have enough independence into the House of Commons, is that then the independents can decide who's going to be the Prime Minister. We get to decide who the Prime Minister is, not a political party. There's a lot of things that we can do that have never been done, that because everybody's sort of been, I'm too busy, because literally, honestly, this is like watching grass grow, paint dry. It's dry stuff. Honestly, it is. It's very dry. So that's why we're trying our best to keep it, lively, so that people are interested, to make sure, because it's very interesting, but at the same time, it can be extremely boring. When you're coming home from a long day of work, the last thing you want to think about is, oh, this issue over here that I need to, that's the last thing you want to think about. So we're trying to put things in place that alleviates that counters that gets people involved. So again, we're growing, we're working at it, looking for as many people as we can. We do have provincial constitutions. They are just not ratified. Provincial constitutions are legislated constitutions, and they all run off of the federal constitution. The provincial constitutions aren't the answer. The answer is us being the head of state. That's the answer. Because as head of state, then we're the head of state for provincial constitutions. We're the head of state all across the board. And once we're the head of state, then we can bring all sorts of things to the table. There's two things that are key to this: head of state and voting in independence. The right independence. Because right now, I don't know about you, but in my province, anybody who's run as an independent hasn't actually been someone that most people would want to vote for. So we need to have valid, legit, qualified, independent people running. Yeah, Terry, interesting. You know the We the People logo with the thing on it? I worked to design that very first one that rolled out. So. Yeah, the charter still means something. It's just that we need to make sure it stays that way. And we need to do that as a united effort. Voting somebody in to do it for us won't work, because they'll be sucked into the existing political quagmire that exists inside our parliamentary democracy. And so we need to do two things. Again, become the head of state so that we can begin to put things in place that stop the quagmire that means all of what's been happening. And secondly, we need to vote in independence. And thirdly, we're doing all these lawsuits across Canada. Other organizations doing lawsuits across Canada is a wonderful thing. We actually have 4 that we're trying to do. And let me tell you, it's been hard. And if you notice, a lot of the organizations that are doing the lawsuits are organizations of lawyers who have come together for this particular purpose. They are nonprofit organizations that formed to look after our rights and that sort of thing, but they're all after individual rights, not collective. So we're trying to work with a couple of them to work on collective rights, because it's collective rights is where we have our key, is getting our collective rights. Okay, I'm going to go, and I did not know that, Jay. I haven't checked anything today, so did that just pass today? Jay saying Bill C-10 passed. And as of last night, I didn't think it had. I checked on it and it hadn't. So, okay, we'll be back tomorrow, and have a great night, folks. And we'll be checking things out. And if you have more information about Bill C-10, put it in the comments. Talk to you later.